Happy Tuesday. I think that's what day it is today. Today's Tuesday. To everybody, glad to have you guys here on our leadership call. I am Coach Sonic Jones, and I'm excited to get this leadership call. Even though I am just getting out the hospital, I'm going to still try to give you guys some words of wisdom from the coach's corner, from the people's coach today. Let's talk about you, your attitude. I want you to always understand that people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And it's important for you to treat people right. And I'm talking about speaking life into people, being good to people. And it doesn't matter where you are in life or in business as far as rank. You know, you can be just getting started. You can be a 20-year veteran, a diamond. Treat people good, all right? And good comes back to you. This is, at the end of the day, always remember this is a relationship business, and it's important for you to build strong, solid relationships, ladies and gentlemen. That's going to help take your business to the next level. You be good to people, and good will come back to you. All right. That's my coach's tip for the day. So, with that being said, we're going to get started with our leadership call. I have the good fortune to be able to thank you, Jessica. I appreciate the comment in the chat. I have the good fortune of being able to introduce a gentleman who has been in this industry for a while now. He's put a stamp on this industry, done some amazing things, not only for himself, but for groups of people all around the world. He knows 110% of the information. I'm so excited that he's going to take some time out of his busy schedule this evening to talk with all of us and put some leadership on us. So that being said, Coach Will, are you available, sir?
Yes, sir. I am here, brother. Glad to have you back home, doing well. Been definitely praying for you and the family, and cannot wait to see you again in person. Uh, there is that. But good to have you back home, man. That being said, ladies and gentlemen, y'all show Coach Sonic some love in the chat. And I don't know about y'all. Have y'all been enjoying the Coach's Corner tips at the beginning of the calls as much as I have, or no? Y'all got to let me know if that's a feature that we've been enjoying. I think if y'all were smart, somebody would put all Coach Sonic's coaches calls together and just write a book, just write a whole training manual with that stuff. But you got to cut him in on the royalties, though. That's his content. you know. All right, cool. So this is what we'll do, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to continue on our theme of leadership and storytelling. Okay, and I'm going to start this one off with two stories, and I got to tell you, I want to preface this by explaining how important storytelling is outside of network marketing, but also inside of network marketing. Storytelling is an absolutely indispensable skill. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Okay. So there are certain functions that when you reach a certain income level or status level, you'll be invited to certain functions. And no, these are not going to be the Diddy party functions. No, not at all. But certain types of business functions that you'll be able to go to and access entirely new networks of people where everybody in the room is on the up and up. And as one of the new people who gets a chance to be in some of these environments, you start to observe and notice that there are different nuances in communication. And it typically starts with the handshake in how you're reading a room. So, as a leader, you should know this because I predict a lot of you on this call, as many who want to, are going to get to the levels of financial freedom and status that you want to be at, where you want your family to be at. And these things, these tips will help you. Okay. I'm giving it to you as I learn them, a lot of this stuff, as I experience this in life. So if you're a guy, you're going to come in there and it's the handshake. And it can't be too firm and it can't be too soft. It has to be the right, proper handshake. You can't be grabbing the front fingers. You got to really get your hand in. You know what I'm saying? It's a certain type of handshake that tells you a lot about a person. And most of you know that already. Now, one thing you'll notice about ladies in these environments is they shake hands one or two ways. They're going to shake hands like the men shake hands, and men are always going to comment on that hey, that's a really strong handshake. Then they're going to ask, was your dad in the military or something to that effect, right? And then other ladies are not going to have a handshake. They're going to do it totally out of the ordinary, opposite of that. And it's going to be this thing where they extend their hand only if there's a ring on it. Okay. And they're going to extend their hand like that. And that's a throwback to the ancient culture of, you kiss the ring of the queen or whatever, but they do that. And then the man or the woman will take the hand, and it's a very gentle, just a little right there. It's not all this type of stuff. So the handshakes that men and women give at these functions are way different depending on who it is. Now, for ladies, that's their status thing there. Okay. When ladies come out and they shake hands, only at these events, it is left handed and it is this. Okay. They just put it out there and you know what to do with it. Little gentle shake on the front part, and you know it when you see it. Okay. With gentlemen, though, some guys at these certain functions, their handshake is going to go to what I call level 2, and that is going to be if they have a certain timepiece on the right hand. Okay, and you'll catch just a glance as you're shaking. It's not as much for the person that they're shaking hands with, but as far as everybody else. And typically that is going to be a Rolex. Now, their watches at these functions that these guys wear are never going to be over the top. They're never super blinged out. They're never off the chain. Those watches are for your athletes, rock stars, rappers. People have a certain status level, bezeled out everything, big faces. Okay, those watches. These watches are typically 99% of the time it's going to be a Rolex, and these Rolexes are never over the top because Rolex does not make an over the top watch. These are literally heirloom level watches. Now, are Rolexes as good as any other watch? Yes. It's not about the watch itself. Yeah, you'll see with the younger guys, you'll see some of the Patek Philippe's and stuff like that, but that stuff is only popular because of hip hop culture. That is not popular in banker circles. It's just not the Cartier. It's just not the bust. It's just not. It's popular in certain areas. The Rolex is still the only watch worth having in these circles, and it's like an heirloom piece. And when they shake hands, it's going to begin right hand. The coat sleeve is never the suits at these events. It's never tailored bad. It's always tailored exactly properly tailored. Okay, and then you see the handshake there. Now, there is one thing I've noticed that even transcends the wedding ring handshake, which declares status, the Rolex handshake, which also declares status. Okay. One level above that is going to be once the dinner started and everybody's talking and doing whatever, the storytelling is who really controls the room. Okay. If you're in the room, there's already a certain amount of respect people have for you, regardless of your gender, your age, or your race, or anything like that. If you're in the room, you already have a certain amount of respect from everybody, and everybody has a certain amount of respect for everybody else. The ladies' handshake, the men's handshake, that'll take your level up here. And that's typically how the table is set. The number one person who has the strongest handshake in the room is going to be the best storyteller. Okay, now I thrive in a storytelling environment. Now I'm gonna tell you, you got to learn to look at your authenticity of your life, and again, all of that stuff there will help you right when you get there in the future. Okay, the stuff I just told you, the mindset of storytelling and how that's the number one skill you can have in a room full of successful people is your ability to tell stories. That's going to help you become one of those people. That's going to help you explode your network marketing business. You need to be able to take, first and foremost, your life and have some stories. Nobody here that I know was born into a bunch of wealth. Everybody I know has some hardships. You know what? Seymour Greenridge Blake done been in some rooms with some people. Me and Seymour Greenridge Blake, we done talked. He done been in some room with some people. And just over the course of his life and the things that he's achieved and accomplished and the, organizations and whatnot, he's an amazing storyteller. Coach Seymour will have you telling story. I know he's an amazing storyteller firsthand. Absolutely fantastic. Okay. Just understand that you're going to have things in your life that have happened that are good and that are bad and that are, well, not the in between stuff, but the good and the bad can always be woven into an amazing story. Some of the worst days of my life, being shot at, shooting at people, being in drug houses undercover with no gun, being homeless twice. Amazing stories come from some of the lowest points in anybody's life. You all have incredible stories, but you've never been practiced start to tell little pieces of your story to really build your credibility, with your market. To really build that when you're talking to a prospect, one of the best ways for people to get to know a lot about you and to tell a lot about you on a subconscious level is the content of your story and how you tell it. Okay. Now, if you feel like you don't have any good stories to tell, I can tell you that's not true. Okay. You just haven't sat down with a mentor or coach and really, drew the good stories out of you that you've had in your life. But just in case you're working on that, you can also start to tell other people's stories. Okay. That I can't stop. Sonic, why, bro? Why? It's always you. It's always you. All right. So here's my point. You can tell other people's stories. So I'm gonna tell you too, and again, the stories you tell about yourself, they gotta be true. It's immediately apparent if the story isn't true, if it's overly embellished, people know off top. Okay. But the story's gotta be true, and in time you'll learn how to tell incredible stories. Even you'll take value. Is that better, coach? You'll take value out of even the worst, darkest moments of your life. You will have some very, very powerful stories. And the reason why stories are so powerful is because that is how knowledge was passed down for millennia, even prior to written communication. Information was passed down from generation to generation. So there's a certain part of your brain that automatically starts recording the second someone says, man, I got a good story. Let me know and I'll tell it to you. Okay. It is before written language, stories were how information was transferred to people. And then after that, you got art, hieroglyphics, obviously, written language and things, scrolls and things like that. Before that, if you didn't have the stories, word of mouth, you didn't get it. So the human brain is more geared to hearing a story than almost any other type of information, even till today. Okay. So one story I'll tell you, the story doesn't even have to be about you, but I'll tell you about one of my mentors in the industry. I've told this story before. What is repeated is remembered. What is remembered is repeated. One of my mentors, Randy, and Randy is an 8-figure earner in network marketing, still in network marketing till today. Now, Randy was exceptionally good at two things. One thing he was exceptionally good at, which helped him build incredibly large organizations, was he was the best person I have ever personally met at starting new distributors off right. His new member orientation was mandatory and it was amazing. Okay. It's not too much different than ours, but his energy that he brought to it, and how if you didn't complete a new member orientation, you couldn't even get the code to even get on the conference call. Like if you weren't conducting new member orientations at least 5-10 a month, what would that tell him as a leader? That you're not sponsoring anybody new. And that if you are sponsoring new people, but you're not conducting any new member orientations, there is a large likelihood those people are going to fail because you're not even giving them the basic information they need. You're not even telling them in the beginning that some people that are close to them will maybe call this a scam or a scheme because they don't know any better. You're going to be sending them unprepared out into the wilderness without a new member orientation. So he was fanatical about new member orientations, and I love that. Now, over the course of his career, there was a period of time when leaders, we go through toy phases. You're gonna buy all kind of nice things. Randy was buying stuff he shouldn't have been buying, and Randy fought and lost a very public battle with drugs and alcohol. Probably 80% drugs, 20% alcohol. Okay, and when you got money, there's always a drug dealer somewhere to sell you whatever it is you want. All right, and Randy ended up in and out of jail and rehab to a lesser degree, but jail and rehab, in and out for 3 years. And as I've told y'all before, he didn't build his business literally for 3 years. Okay. Now, over the course of that 3 years, when he did not build his network marketing business at all, Randy still made, verified, $9 million in 3 years. 9 million with an M. Okay. People say, man, how? I'd ask him myself. When he got back and he got cleaned up and everything, he got, remarried and all this type of stuff, got a, baby boy, Bosco now and all this. Bosco's probably a little older now. But here's the point. 9 million. And the question people always ask is, Randy, how on earth? Well, fanatical about new member orientations, really understood leadership because duplicating leaders, they were sad that Randy went to jail, but that didn't affect their business. The show gonna go on. My mama said all the time, one monkey ain't gonna stop no show. That's what happens when you have leaders in your organization. They love you to death. They're loyal to you. They're not leaving the company, but guess what? If something happened to you, they'll go to your funeral and they'll be building the next day. As well they should, because that is what is best for their families. And by default, that's what's best for your family. But the other thing that Randy was really, really good at was not just new member orientations and developing leaders in his organization, but the second thing that he was super, super, super good at was he was fanatical about new member orientations, but he was fanatical about auto ship. And I mean fanatical about auto ship. Again, if you had never experienced a new member orientation, he wasn't talking to you, training you. Who's your sponsor? Get with them. You need to complete a new member orientation. 2, are you on the optimal level of auto ship on the first of the month? No? All right. Well, you're not even serious enough for business. And he wasn't being mean. He was simply, he understood that there were only, again, like 20% of people who were even going to be at leadership level. Those people will always have done a new member orientation. They're going to have, he had a different word for it, but we had 20 reasons why, and then we have new member orientation. He called his 20 reasons why something different, different title, same thing though, okay? He had that. And the people that are going to be leaders are going to be at the auto ship is typically 100 BV. We've been moving to that in both companies slowly but surely, seeing the value as we grow. And they're going to be on the first of the month because you can't create a stable, predictable, duplicatable business without a certain amount of auto ships on the first of the month. You can't even predict your income. Okay. If bills are due on the first, second, third, fourth, and fifth, what good is it for you if the bulk of your income is coming split up from the 9th, the 10th, the 16th, and the last day of the month? Why you're just trying to catch up, right? You got to understand. And again, this is leadership and storytelling. This is not for good distributors who say, I'll try. This is not for great distributors who say, I'll do my best. This is for leaders. This whole conversation is for leaders who say, I'm going to do whatever it takes. And I have 110% commitment to the company and I'm ready to go to work. And I'm not going to stop until it's done. And even after that, I might not, but I could because I'll have developed leaders who are like myself. That's how leaders think. Okay. So that was the 2 things that he did, new member orientations and fanatical about the maximum optimal auto ship on the first of the month. Nothing else was negotiable because if he didn't have those leadership checks in place, he would end up spending too much time with people who had 5 BV on the 15th, people who had, 80 BV once every 2 months. You see, people who got an auto ship just because they had some money left over at the end of the month and they just bought some product at 100 BV at the end of the month, but it wasn't on auto ship. He would spend too much time. So those are leadership tests. And, some people didn't pass them. But because he weeded people out with leadership tests of new member orientations, don't miss an event, new member event, auto ship. And these are obvious leadership tests. He didn't spend time with the wrong people. And there's nothing wrong with those people, but they weren't ready to be leaders. They were ready to be customers, super customers, good distributors, or great distributors, but they weren't ready to be leaders, not yet. And so he wouldn't work with them a whole lot because the people who are going all out, all in, the 100 BV top tier, I'm reading the books, I'm at the event, those people, that's who you got to work with outside of these calls. That's maybe 2 or 3 hours a week. So you got to know who to work with. I'm gonna tell you one more story, and coincidentally, okay, this is about another gentleman named Randy. This is one of my favorite stories to ever tell. I don't think it has happened to any other network marketer ever. I love this story, and this is actually a story that happened to me. Okay, and again, this is a different Randy though. So this is the Randy I sponsored his sponsor, and then the sponsor sponsored Randy. I went and did the home meeting at his house and he signed up and Randy plugged in. Randy was out of Louisiana. And this is one company before HBN. So this probably was like 2017, maybe 2018, something like that. And so Randy gets signed up and Randy's plugged into everything. And I would do conference calls. Okay. I was still doing conference calls. Zoom, I don't think, it must have been before 2017 because Zoom wasn't even out. And I was still doing conference calls at the time. We hadn't shifted over to social media Facebook Live yet. We were still doing conference calls. We were really building on social media too, but I'm an in-person person. So Randy signs up at the home meeting, plugs into everything, and I would do a weekly training call, kind of like this one. So Randy got on the call, and Randy got on the call late. All right, because that happens sometimes. He doesn't know where he picked up on the call. True story, crazy story ever. Now, on the call, what I'm literally telling him, okay, similar to what I said on Hangout last night, he came into the call. This is the part he missed. The part where I said, okay, hypothetically speaking, if the company were to do A, B, and C, he missed that part, the hypothetical part. So he comes on, and all he hears me say is, the company's making some changes in the pay plan, and they're shifting to a new business model. Okay. The new business model for the company is going to go as follows. This is literally what I said. The new company, the business model for the company is going to move a certain way as follows. You are going to be responsible for exposing the business to 2 people a day, and you have to verify it. Okay. You'll have to turn in the names and how you contacted the person, if it's phone or social media, but you do have to turn in their information. Okay. And the company is going to conduct randomly selected audits to the point where if a day goes by and you say you contacted a person, but the random audit 2 weeks later reveals that you didn't, that's going to be a problem. Okay. But you're going to be exposing business to 2 people a day. And those 2 people a day, you're going to have to do that for 4 years. Okay. I think on that call, I said 3, but let's just say 4. You're going to have to talk to 2 people a day, 7 days a week. You can never miss a day. And you got to do that for 4 years. Okay. Every day, 2 people. If you don't do nothing else, you got to talk to 2 people a day about the business. Doesn't matter how you contact them. Doesn't matter what you say. Doesn't matter if they say yes or no. It doesn't matter. But at the end of 4 years, you'll be paid $10,000 a month by the company every single month for the rest of your life, even if you quit working. But here's the catch. If a day goes by over the next 4 years and you don't talk to 2 people about the business, we don't care if they join or not. But if you don't talk to 2 people about the business, one day you're sick or something happens and you can only talk to 1 person, you're fired, terminated from the company, and you can never come back and work for the company ever again. You get this deal one time and you have to perform on it. And in fact, over the course of the 4 years, you're not going to get paid a dime. Not a dime. Nothing. I don't care if the people say yes or no or buy $100 worth of product, don't matter. But at the end of 4 years, and tell you what, let's sweeten the deal. We'll adjust it for inflation. So by the time 4 years come, it might be $17,000 a month. But what it's going to be is the equivalent of $10,000 today if you take this deal. Now, how many people, if that deal was presented to you like a job, how many people would think they could perform on that job? I would take it in a heartbeat. That's just me. That's me. If I had a regular job, I would stay at my regular job. I would talk to 2 people a day. But at the end of 4 years, I'm good. It's like a college athlete. I just got to graduate from college. My grades ain't got to be good, but I know I'm set by the time I get out. Guaranteed $10,000 a month, even if you stop working the business, you get $10,000 a month. Now, here's my question to everybody. If you had to talk to 2 people a day, every single day, just for the people who could perform on that contract, I'm going to ask you, what would you say to the 2 people a day? What would you say? Let me just see what would, and again, Randy's on the call this whole time, so he could not type in nothing, but I told him on the call, just think about it. What would you say? Okay. What would you say to the 2 people a day? And remember, it doesn't matter if they join or not, but it has to be a legitimate exposure. Okay. Here's the second question I would ask you. Who would you talk to? Who would you talk to? Where would you find people to talk to? 2 people a day. Okay, so we know what you would say, and all the answers I'm seeing in the chat are correct. So my question is, where would you find people to talk to? Who would you even talk to? Who's the first 2? If you had to start today, who's the first 2 people you're talking to? And you got to verify. You got to get name and contact info, because you can be audited. Now, here's my point. Here's my point to the story. Talking to 2 people a day, every day for 4 years I wish I can guarantee it. I can't guarantee it, but I can tell you from personal experience, I ain't even done that. And I make more than $10,000 a month easily. It's not even, I'd be sad if I made $10,000 a month. Like, I think something was wrong. Like, Marcus, you see this? Like, me and Marcus would, if he was only making $10,000 a month, because Marcus would flip out. Because we've talked to 2 people a day for more than 4 years. We've done it. So I can tell you this is how the numbers work. Now, here's the point. Randy heard that, and Randy said, yep, Randy didn't even finish the call. Randy heard that, said, I'm in, got texted the sponsor, got off the call. Randy went right to work. Randy went and started talking to 2 people a day. Now, here's the crazy part. Now it just occurred to me. I think for that example, I'm gonna tell you, it wasn't 2 people a day. It was I think it was 600. That's what it was. I just told the whole that's what happened. I've told that particular training. It wasn't 2 people a day on that call. It was 600 people total. That's what it was. And the reason why it was 600 people total is because that's the number of people I talked to. 400 said no, 200 said yes. Out of 200 who said yes, only 40 ever did anything. And I made multiple 6 figures every single year forever after that. So you got to talk to 600 people. That's what I told him on the call. It wasn't 2 people. I was confusing 2 stories. But here's the point. You'd still perform on that deal. I think the deal is even sweeter now. The deal is even sweeter if you talk to 600 people total. I don't care if they say yes or no, but the second you're done exposing the business to 600 people, you'll have a $10,000 a month income from the company. That's what it was. So Randy got off the phone and just went and started talking to people. Absolutely. He started talking to people. Randy was on the top of the company leaderboard the next week. This company had a weekly leaderboard, and it would pay out hundreds, kind of like the one we have now. But Randy was on top of the leaderboard for the next 3 weeks in a row. He was rank advancing faster than anybody in the company. Randy's team, the next time I went and did a home meeting at Randy's house, this is like 3 weeks later, Randy had already made like $5,000. Like 3 weeks later, Randy had already made $5,000. When we pulled up, I pulled up at the house to sponsor because I'd already been there before. So the sponsor met me over there. I couldn't even park because there were so many cars at Randy's house. It was like 50 cars at Randy's house. Cars was lining the street. It was bananas. It was absolutely bananas. I go into the house, people don't even know who I am. Randy's, because remember, we weren't doing live Zooms and stuff. We were just doing calls, okay? Randy is like, oh God, Will's here. Everybody, hey, let's start the meeting. Everybody, chairs lined up. Everybody sat down. His wife passing out refreshments. Randy is ecstatic, beaming. Everybody in the building is hyped. It was one of the best home meetings ever. Every single person in the house signed up. Everybody signed up. Okay, 3 weeks. Not Randy's at like $7,500. These bonuses is clicking. It is amazing. At the end of the meeting, this is a true story. This is crazy. At the end of the meeting, now remember, Randy is at this point has the fastest growing team, top of the leaderboard, is almost at $10,000 for the month. He's like $7,500 in like 3.5 weeks. He's gonna be at 10,000 next month. Like the momentum is going bananas. Listen, Randy had been all he knew, and the sponsor pulled me to the side. And she said after the meeting, she was like, "Well, I got good news and bad news." I'm like, "Man, what's the bad news?" Because this is rolling. She said, "Well, the good news is everything's going great." So the bad news is, here's the problem. I talked to Randy. And I was like, "Randy seemed excited." She was like, "I know." But Randy was under the impression that once he talks to 600 people about the business, and he's only at like 200, if that, but once he talks to 600 people, he's going to be at a $10,000 a month income. And I said, oh, no, that's not right at all. Randy, at this pace, he's going to be more than $10,000 income. He's going to be here next month. He's going to be at $10,000 a month. She was like, I know. But he's under the impression that it's only because he's talking to people. So he's talking to anybody and everybody, and he don't care what they say, and everybody's signing up. I'm like, this is the best thing ever. But then I was like, we got to tell him. She was like, dang, I knew you would say that. I was like, we got to operate with integrity. We got to tell him. And so after the meeting, everybody's leaving and signed up and happy. And I had to sit, and the sponsor wasn't going to do it. She was having an anxiety attack. You know, she had found the goose laying the golden eggs. And I had to pull Randy to the side at his own home. We sat down, said, let me talk to you. And I said, I think there's been a little bit of a misunderstanding. And you can see as I explained to him how he came on the call late, that he missed the first part. And this is not how the business works. He's like, but I got all this money in my back office. I withdrew it. It's real. I got money. And I was like, well, I know you'll make more than $10,000, but it doesn't come that way. Not the company, bro. It's you. It's what you're doing and how you're doing it that's making you successful. You're earning the money at a faster clip than anybody else in the company. Like you're gonna be great, but you could see the shift in his mind when the energy just left his face. It just left his face when he figured out that it wasn't guaranteed and that it was all on him, no matter how much money he made, no matter how many skills he had acquired, he all his energy would go. I don't think he ever talked to another person ever again. I know for sure he quit building. I'm 99% sure he quit the company, and I'm 100% sure he's not even in network marketing no more. Okay, that's a true story. But that simply goes to let you know the mindset of people, that people want something a lot of times that feels like a job, but that is not what this is. But if you act like it's a job and you put the work in on a regular basis, just talking to people, 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 with not caring too much about what you're saying, or if they say yes or no, you just got to get to your 2 people a day or your 600 total, which is what Randy thought. He was just trying to get to 600. That's why he got on the call late for whatever reason. He got off the call early because he wanted a head start to just talking to 600 people, exposing them to the business, just telling them whatever. Nothing, he wasn't lying to nobody, but he had to expose the business to 600 people. Okay. Now, that's the crazy part. And I'm asking y'all a couple of questions. With Randy number one, my old mentor, okay, how much money did Randy make in the 3 years that he was in jail and rehab? Somebody put in the chat, how much money did Randy make when he was in there in jail and rehab? Okay. With the second Randy, okay, second Randy, about how much money did he make over that 3 week period when he was just on fire? Talking there about how much, give or take, about how much did he make in that 3 week period? Okay. What state was Randy from? The second Randy that I knew. What state was he from? Okay. About how many cars were out Randy's house? About how many cars were at his house for that second meeting? Mm-hmm. Now, here's the interesting thing. Did Randy have refreshments at his house for the guests at that meeting? Yes or no? Okay. Was Randy's sponsor a man or a woman? Okay. Now, ladies and gentlemen, you know all that information by heart. You didn't write down any of that story properly, and you didn't try to memorize any of it. But because it was told in the form of a story, your brain automatically starts recording. When you're talking to your prospects and you're telling people stories, I can tell Randy's story, I can tell Coach Marcus's story. If I tell it in the form of a story, your prospects will remember it and remember all the key facts. Okay? Storytelling is a high tier skill. It is one of the most elite forms of communication that you can learn to really be good at. And communication is 81% of the success equation according to Princeton. Okay? Your success in business, 81% of your success in business comes down to the ability to communicate. 81%. So I'll ask you, how many people here have ever read 5 books on how to tell a story? How many? You don't have to answer. I don't want to embarrass nobody. I'm just asking you some questions for thought. How many people on here have ever specifically sought out more than 3 YouTube videos on how to be a good storyteller? You see, most people don't even know that they need to become good storytellers. Okay. Sydney says she wrote a book. Love it, love it, love it. Okay. But once you get the skill, you have to combine it with the action. And that is going to help you become wildly successful. Now let's do this. Let me check the time. Do a little time check. All right, we're good. We're right on time. We're going to wrap this up. I got some notes that I want to share from a leadership standpoint. Oh yeah, yeah, no, $1 million tip for sure. $1 million tip for sure. Okay. Sharon says she Irish and she tells stories. I love it. Yeah, but you should be telling stories to your prospects about things that are going on in the business. Now, here's the crazy part. Remember, if you talk to 600 people, that's my real numbers, by the way, maybe 3 or 4 companies ago. When I became a top one, I wasn't the number one earner in the company, but I was right there. I was the top 1%. I talked to 600 people in the business, and I kept a journal of the name of every person I talked to. So when I was able to count up, once I got to the 6-figure level with that company, I was like, how many people did I have to talk to get to over $100,000 a year in commissions every year? And I was like, oh, it was 600 people. It was like 602, almost to the dot. It was 600 people. Out of the 600 people, and these are real numbers. These are my real numbers. So 600 people, out to 600, 400 said no and didn't join. Fine by me. 200 did join. And I'm really good at storytelling and recruiting and presenting. I was really good at everything. And I still had 400 people say no and 200 say yes. And out of the 200 that said yes, 160 of them easily did not even follow up on. They maybe did a new member orientation, but they never took nothing serious. They didn't plug in and never made it to the event. 160 out to 200 that joined and signed up, got packages, said they wanted to make money and be successful and generate wealth. Okay. Only 40 of them ever did anything. Only 40 of them ever did anything. And out that 40, the numbers that broke down, I'm telling you, I know these numbers in my brain. 12 of them still quit. That left me with 28. Out the 28, 12 of them, give or take, became customers, became super customers. They built the business, but they ended up stop building for whatever reason. They became super customers. That left me with 16. 12 of them hit the first few ranks in the company, built little teams, became really great distributors. They really built some really nice teams, and they had 4 left. One of them flew the coop and went to another company, fine by me, no big deal. And out of the 3 people that were left, they were responsible for 80% of the residual income I made. 80% came down to 3 people. 3 lines. 3 lines was 80% of the business. And in fact, about 70% of that was really just 2 of them. But I want the number 80, 3 lines. When I came to HBN in 2019, I did the exact same thing. I said, I know what it takes for me because I have a number. Everybody has a number, but you don't know your number until you hit it. See, that's the thing. You don't know, but everybody got a number. And the number is when you hit that number of exposures, okay, that is the exact amount of people that you need to get to fulfill the things on your 20 reasons why. Now, it may take a little time after you hit the number because you have to give your team time to mature and learn and grow, but the hard work has been done. So when I came to HBN, it was almost the same thing. I need to talk to 600 people as fast as possible. I want to make $100,000 my first year at HBN. That was my goal. I didn't make that goal. I made it through almost all 600 people in my first year, but my first year at HBN I only made 50,000. Now my second year I made 100. Then the year after that I was at 250. Then the next year was even more, and it's been going up. But here's my point: talking to that amount of people, whatever your number is, will always get you the results you want, but you don't know your number. Randy accidentally took my number, which was 600, and that was getting him all the stuff he wanted. And it was just about exposing the business to people. It was just about exposing people to the products and the business. And most of my work was done in person. Most of my work was done in person, rarely, but it'll be on the phone. But I like seeing people because I know if I just got to find the right 3 or 4 people out of 600, I can read character much better. Was it aggravating? Yes. Was it time consuming? Yes. But was it worth it? 100%. Okay. So that being said, for the rest of the call, I got a couple more notes I want to share with you. I'm gonna pop off camera so I can stay track on these, and we will be out of here on time. Now, the ultimate secret to sponsoring, again, other than massive activity, is not going to be finding the right person. So I know it sounds a little bit counterintuitive, but just hear me out. It's about being the right person. Okay, it's about being the right person. If you know that you're the type of person who's going to be a leader because you know you have 100% commitment to the business and the company and the products and the pay plan, and 100% commitment to your team, 100% commitment to the people that you said you were going to join this company and you were going to help them and be here and not quit. If you've got that and you're a professional student, you love learning, you want to learn, you're becoming the right person. So it's going to be much, much easier for you to identify the right people. So it's not about finding the right person, it's about attracting the right person based on being the right person. Okay. If you had, let's say, Coach Kimberly, and she's doing a presentation, and some people would join. And let's pretend that she had a script that she would use for the presentation, and she's going to be doing the communicate and everything. But you swap her out, and in her place, with the same script, same opportunity, same company, same pay plan, you put a homeless man that smells like the sewer in the gutter, and he has the exact same script. Nobody's going to join. He has access to the same company, the same script, the same words. He's at the same venue. He's got the same prospects and guests. He got everything Coach Kim got except Coach Kim. Okay, so the secret is not the company, it's not the product or the pay plan. Those are all great. The secret is always going to be you. The best people get the most prospects, but they put the work in to become the best people. Warren Buffett said, and Warren Buffett, the greatest investor of all time, said the number one investment you can make is investment in yourself. The second is investment in stuff to become debt free. And the third is going to be mutual and index funds. Facts. But the first most important, is going to the first most important, investment you can make. That is going to be for you. Okay. So just understand that. Right? Now, here's the thing we'll finish up with. I'm going to give you a couple of questions right now. These are 3 questions. And if you haven't seen the leadership Facebook Live we did in the big team group, please check that out. This will kind of piggyback on that as we wrap this up because we got a few minutes. Okay. I'm going to give you 3 questions that will save you time, money, energy, and effort. And this is going to be stuff that's on the back end of people who've already passed the leadership test. They've already started to really work, but this is going to be a way for you to help them shift into more of the right mindset. Okay. Now, when someone comes to you with a question, you have 2 options as a leader because you're going to get tons of questions. And it could be a situation, it could be a dilemma that your new rep is coming to you with. And before you answer the question, because of course you can answer it and probably fix it for them, but because you want them to become independent and really grow, here's a question that you can ask when they come to you with a situation. Okay? Come to you with a situation, you would say here, how would a leader handle that? Okay? Someone says, well, I got a question. Such and such, my top frontline distributor quit. One of the products is delayed from the company. Oh man, I get it. Okay, cool. I can definitely answer that for you, Bob. I can definitely help you with that. But let me just ask you, hypothetically speaking, let's say that the product is, missing in the mail and one of your frontline distributors quit. How would a leader handle that? I would just ask him, how would a leader handle that? How would a leader handle that? And then he's going to give me an answer. And I'm saying, let's do that. You're just trying to shift the mindset. You're just trying to shift the mindset to get them to think more like a leader and not a baby complainer that needs you to wipe their butt for them. You're doing them a favor by asking them that question. Some of you have never been asked that question. Well, I got this, and this going on. Man, I get it. That sounds very, very difficult. I understand. How would a 7-figure leader handle that? How would a top tier network marketer handle it? Okay. And the answer is rarely going to be they would just pay for whatever because that person has that money because they became a leader, because they knew how to handle problems like we're talking about. Okay. So that's a question that's going to save you a lot of time, a lot of energy, a lot of effort. How would a leader handle that? Yeah, basically, distributor leaves, move on. Right. Just ask yourself the question. You can ask that with any question you want. And it's a great quiz and a great exercise for you to be able to practice that on yourself. Whenever something goes negative or goes wrong, before you bother your upline, ask yourself, how would a leader handle that? First, confirm that it is what it is. But second, ask yourself, how would a leader handle that? And then take that action. If you have trouble beyond that, then you contact, your upline or your support team, and this, that, or third. But this is, again, that's just for leaders. If you're not a leader and you're just a good distributor or a super customer or the baby distributor who just happens to be on the call, you can, again, reach out to us. We do childcare regularly in network marketing, and it's okay. All right. Second question. I'm going to save you a lot of time. And this is going to be for people who, again, they're going to come to you asking you to do stuff. So this is not going to be the people that are leaders in training who are asking you questions who you want them to have the right mindset. This is going to be people who are coming to you just to do stuff because they're lazy. But you can't tell them they're lazy. You hurt their little lazy baby feelings if you say, man, listen, you just lazy and you probably have bad time management skills, to be quite frank. You keep asking me to do everything, you're never going to win. Okay. But you're going to have people like that. Here's the way you can really help them shift their mindset and become just a little more grown in the network marketing world. Okay. Well, I need this, and man, I got this going on, and can you do this and that? And here's the mistake. As a leader, I still make the mistake of telling people I'll do things for them and obligating myself. And because I'm a man of my word, I'll do it. But at the same time, it is a sign of weakness across the board. And it's not their fault. Human beings are always going to ask, can you do this? Can you do that? Can you? Because why not? Right? It's just people are inherently lazy. It's nobody's fault. It's human nature. We've all been there. Okay. Here's a question you ask that person. Okay. What would you like me to do that you're unwilling or unable to do yourself? And quite frankly, the unable, you can take that out because it comes to unwilling. They just don't want to do it. When they're, man, Will, can you just that or third? Man, I need help doing this. That. Listen, okay, sounds good. But let me ask you, like, because what do you think I'm gonna do? What would you like me to do that you're unwilling to do yourself? Well, if you do the call because you know that, okay, so are you unwilling to read the books to get the information to do the call? Ugh. Are you unwilling to learn the pay plan in and out so you can be an expert on the pay plan? Like, what would you like me to do that you're unwilling to do yourself? And I'm not being mean to people when I tell them that. I'm helping them. Okay. Because if you really understand that the number one success metric in your network marketing business is how many leaders or leaders in training you have in different legs of your organization, you will understand how important it is to help people shift into leader thinking. Okay, it might hurt their feelings for a minute, but they're gonna understand, hopefully, and they'll thank you later. Another question I'll ask people, especially again, same group. Well, I need you to do this or that, man. I need you to. Okay, I understand. But what's the last 5 books you've read to improve your business? Okay, put that question, tuck that one away too. What is the last 5 books that you've read to improve your business? Because everybody in this call read books. I've read books. Y'all have all put the work in to buy a book, read it, implement it. You think some people are exempt? You think people need to be given a pass on work? Not in this industry, okay? Not in this industry at all. So yeah, those are the 3 questions that you're going to be able to ask. And the reason why you ask those questions is because successful distributors and unsuccessful distributors have the same sponsors. That's probably the most important thing I've said on this call all night. Successful distributors and unsuccessful distributors have the same sponsors. So if someone comes and says, like, I know some sponsors that are absolute garbage. If there was a sponsoring contest, they would come in dead last. But guess what? Some of them, they got absolutely terrible reps that don't do good and quit. But then they got some winners. They got some absolute winners. So a garbage sponsor can sponsor winners and losers. Here's the crazy part. Let's take a really good sponsor. Let's take a Coach Sonic Jones. Let's take somebody who's a really good sponsor, really going to pour into you and help you become successful and teach you what you need to know and hold you accountable. Let's take a good sponsor. He's going to have some people that aren't very good in that quit, but he's going to have some other ones that are some winners. Okay? So if successful distributors distributors and unsuccessful distributors come from good sponsors and they come from bad sponsors, who's really responsible for the success of the distributor? Who's really responsible? Yeah, it's always going to be you. It's always going to be you. It's never, ever going to be anybody other than you. I've sponsored some people who have gone on to make literally tons of money. And I sponsored the same people, gave them the same training, taught them everything I know, did my best, who have literally failed miserably and quit. It doesn't matter who your sponsor is, how bad or how good they are. The success is still going to be up to you. I hate to break it to you. Still going to be on you. Okay? So we'll close this with a question. We started with a story. We'll end this call with a question. All right? This is a question for you to think about. But I want you to ask this question honestly. Okay? I want you to ask this question, answer this question honestly for yourself. All right? You can put this in the chat. And be honest. Don't say that you're, something that you ain't. It's not time. I want you to be honest. How many people in the next 4 days could sponsor 100 people into the business? And I want you to answer this honestly. And it's okay, but I want you to answer yes or no. If you just put yes or no, could you sponsor at your current level of skill? Yes or no? Could you sponsor 100 people in the next 4 days? 100 people in the next 4 days. And just be honest. It's okay. At your current level of skill, not who you're going to be, who you are right now. Okay? Now I'm going to ask you one more question. If I were to personally write you a check from my bank account for $80,000, could you now sponsor 100 people in 4 days? If you sponsor 100 people in 4 days, I'm going to give you a check out of my bank account. It will not bounce. $80,000. Could you get out and sponsor 100 people in 4 days? 80 grand. You got 80 grand. The second it get done, you got $80,000. Hell, make it 100. I'm generous. Make it 100. I call it my tithe. Anybody who said no, you couldn't sponsor 100 people at 5 and 10 BV, 50, 100 for 100 grand? Jeez. Okay, there we are. That are yeses. Now here's the point. Not giving that away. A couple years ago, I might have did something that's stupid, but not doing that. I just want you to see something. This is what's crazy. The money didn't do it for you. You didn't get the check, so the check didn't do it. Okay? It was simply you making a decision to do it. You didn't get the money, but you immediately went from, man, ain't no way I could do that. And you immediately shifted your energy all on your own. You shifted your mindset and shifted your thoughts and said, you know what? I probably could. You know what? That's okay. I probably could figure out a way. I might bully some people, but I could probably get it. You see how crazy that is? The same thing that happened. Look, all y'all on the call is a bunch of Randys. Y'all are a bunch of Randys. The whole call, we are all Randy. We can make $9 million in 3 years, like the first Randy, and overcome hardship, or we can quit network marketing like the second Randy and go back to a job at the plants in Louisiana. It's your mindset. It's only you. You gonna figure out which Randy you want to be. It is literally your mindset, because he was up to $7,500 in 3 weeks off mindset and thought. And then he just fell off the wagon. You are responsible for your own growth. I really want you to take that last question we covered home and really meditate on that and really say, man, was just the promise, the hypothetical promise of a check, I really turned my whole world around, and I really would have got out and sponsored 100 people. I promise I would have did it in 4 days. Watch me. And just for clarification purposes, let me see. Coach Marcus, what's the most people you put in business in 1 day? Let me ask Coach. I know what my number is. People don't even care about my numbers. Let me see what Coach Marcus did. I think I know I did probably about 50. Excuse me. Let me see what Coach Marcus did. How many people did? What's your record for most people you sponsored in a day? 33 in 1 day. So you know you could do 100. You know you could do 100. I'm gonna tell you this. Anybody on this call could do 100 in 4 days. Because between me and Coach, we did 80 something in one day. So I know for sure everybody on this call can do it. And we were going so fast, we didn't even care what we was telling people. As long as it was honest, we was getting it. Seymour did 26. You see what I'm saying? Now that you think about it, it's already been done. A lot of you can do it. I don't want you to hold yourself back. You just got to decide what Randy you want to be, man. Be the one with the positive thoughts that know that they can do anything. And part of being a leader and self-motivating is critical. All right. So that being said, I'll talk to y'all soon. Hope y'all got some content. Enjoyed the content. Thank you so much, Coach, for putting this together. And we will see y'all on the next one. Good night. God bless y'all. Have a good night.